Alister, welcome. Now you're a fourth generation family member of the Purbrick family who run Tahbilk Winery. What's it like to be part of a winery that's so steeped in history and success?
At Tahbilk we had three generations. We had my grandfather, father and myself. And you know, you have some pretty lively discussions.
Yeah.
But having said all that and putting family to one side, obviously rolling up to work in a place like this with all the beauty and the history around, you know, it's a joy.
And how did your family get involved with Tahbilk? Because they weren't there from 1860, but they came in a little bit later on, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. So we're not quite sure how it all came about, but my great-grandfather, he somehow got word that this property was up for sale and ultimately put in a bid, and it was the winning bid, so we purchased it in 1925. Interestingly though, he wasn't tied in romantically with the idea of owning a winery. He was in for a real estate play.
Oh, okay.
And he wanted to cut the property up into a whole lot of little dairy blocks. My grandfather Eric fell in love with the place and then spent the next couple of years trying to convince his dad that he shouldn't sell the property, he should keep it. So ultimately his father made the decision to keep it, but with one condition: that my grandfather would come out and run it.
Wow, so it does go back a very long time despite not being there from the beginning.
Yeah.
And what do you think were some of the key events that you know, created this successful winery? What were the turning points?
Grandfather, 1931 when he started, he decided that he was going to concentrate on table wines rather than fortified wines, which was the alcohol or the wine alcohol of the day.
And brandy was distilled here on site.
Absolutely, yeah. So it was really beer, spirits, and fortified wine were the drinks of the day. So he decided, no, I'm going to make table wine and make them as well as I can. Consequently, he didn't sell a lot of wine, and it wasn't until after the Second World War when we had a huge influx of Europeans, but particularly Greeks and Italians who brought their lifestyle with them, that the fortunes of Tahbilk and the industry, the Australian wine industry, changed. And the rest is history, as they say. And then the other turning point, I think, was the development of our ecotourism operation, which includes the restoration of the wetlands. There's a battery-powered boat and people can cruise. There's lots of eco-trails. They can walk around and over the wetlands, take in all the wildlife and the birds and nature.
Tell me about this incredible room. I feel like we're in the presence of some very old barrels here.
With the making of our red wines at Tahbilk, it's really a working museum. So where we're standing is some of the original open vats. The first vintage in these vats was 1861. And we also use very traditional red wine making techniques for the maturation of the wine after they've been fermented in these big open vats, which are down in the underground cellars.
Yes, I believe you're going to take me there too.
Yeah, indeed.
So Alister, we are standing in the middle of the old cellar and the new cellar, although it all looks pretty old to me. What is this room?
The old cellar is the original excavated underground cellar. So that was built in 1860.
Wow.
And the whole cellar is built from material off the property. So all the beams are river red gum or ironbark.
Yeah.
The walls, as you can see, are mudstone, quarried off the property. So that's the old cellar. This cellar, though, the new cellar, is quite different. You can see in the design, and this is the sort of thing that's quite rare in Australia, but you'd see everywhere in Europe, particularly France. And also, it's such a unique cellar. It's all brick, and as you can see, it's about 1 metre thick. And all the bricks were made on the property, and they're only sun-dried, so they're not kilned, so they're very, very soft.
Yes, and they make it very, very cold down here. Perfect for maturing wine?
Perfect for red wine maturation.
And that is what is inside these enormous barrels. Yeah,
and you know, you can see all the barrels behind us and in front of us. And this is actually one of our points of difference in our red wine making compared to other Australian red wine makers. And the fact is that we're using a lot of the old barrels. Most of them are over a century old. Some would be 158 years old, our birth year. So what the large barrels do is act as a maturation vessel without imparting any oak. You only get oak flavour from a barrel for the first 5 or 6 or 7 years of its life.
Yeah.
So for us then that means that our fruit has got to be really good, because the hero, what's going to make the wine taste really good, is going to be around fruit flavour, not oak and fruit flavour.
I see.
So it's about, our blends are roughly 70% old oak matured, and 30% new oak, and of the new oak it's mostly French oak.
Now let's talk about some of your wines, because some of the vines date back to 1860, is that right? Wow, that's incredible, and they're still giving you fruit.
Yes, not much fruit. We do a single vineyard wine from that 1860 planted Shiraz block, and we only make about 150 dozen a year.
Wow, so it's very special.
It's very special.
Yeah.
It's a bit of liquid history, really.
Yeah, yes, that's
and
right.
It's certainly a wine that Tahbilk has made a huge reputation on, and arguably it's our best known wine.
Yeah.
Although I'd like to think that Marsanne, we've had, as a white variety.
Well, you've won thousands of awards, haven't you?
We've won a lot of awards, and we've been growing it since the 1860s.
Yeah.
Not many people grow Marsanne, but our love affair has been enduring for a very long time.
Thank you, Alister, for bringing me down here. It feels very special, but I think it's time I do some tastings and maybe find out a little bit more about the history of the place.